This message is transforming lives and organisations from the inside out, person by person and cell by living cell. Remember, you can change your DNA.
Is anyone changeable?
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely. Given the right time of incubation and the right information, absolutely. There's nothing impossible. Anything can change.
Just a random thought. Do you reckon you could take anyone? Anyone and just spend time with them and give them that right information?
I think whether you say me or the information that I'm talking about, I think yes, as long as the person's willing.
Okay.
They've got to be willing. This is not an intimidation process. It's not a manipulation process, Jamie. It's a great question. I'm not afraid of the question. It's a willing, it's an alignment. It's got to be like, you've got to be wanting to be on this vehicle.
Yeah.
And you want your wheel aligned with the other, otherwise you're going to get, tread wear and you're going to get crisis. And sometimes two human beings or a group of human beings can have that, but they come back in and say, you know what, we're heading in the right direction. And if I can just be personal, Anne-Marie Italian, I'm Australian, I grew up with windows open, Anne-Marie grew up with windows closed in winter. But now she always has the windows open because she likes the fresh air. But that almost ended our marriage in the first 12 months.
Oh my gosh.
Open that window. Close that window.
Really? Inconsolable differences.
Yeah,
the windows.
No, it's just incredible,
Sheesh.
But it's the beliefs that you have to deal with. So the way we did it was best described, if I can just be verbally visual.
Yeah.
There's Anne-Marie and there's I. Who's right, who's wrong? Well, that's not what's important. What do we want here? We want a life together. So if we both aim for that, guess what happens is we get closer to what we're aiming for. Where are we in relation to each other?
Yeah.
We're coming together because we're aiming for something bigger than both of us. And that's going back to your question. If somebody's in a bad state of affairs, they've got to be willing. When I was doing counselling inside corporates, sometimes I would say, what do you want to get out of this? And if they couldn't give me an answer, I'd say, I don't think I can help you.
That's a great question though. What do you want out of this?
Yeah. If they were a prisoner, like I'm here because I got to be, the boss said I got to be,
Yeah.
it's not going to work, Jamie.
Really? You just say, no, can't help you.
Can't help. You've got to be a willing heart.
So what are you looking for? When you ask that question to somebody, what do you want?
I want honesty and sincerity. And it's really good questions, and I know they're coming even not off the sheet. There's habits. Habits will lay the world at your feet or they'll destroy you. And habits of sincerity, and there's a wonderful story about Alexander the Great in the book about how his men at charge were losing their precious water when they were on sojourns through deserts, and people had provided his army with leaking or with waxed over vessels to hold their water. So when they went out in the heat of the battle and the roughness of travel through that type of warfare, their bottles, the wax would melt and the crack in the bottle would let their water out. So he went back to and this is a true story. You can look, I say those things because it sounds so fantastical. Yeah. He went back and he was the first guy to do quality control. And he had all of the vessels for water tested for pressure and heat. And if they didn't crack, he had engraved on the bottom Sine Cera, which is Greek for sincerity, which means without wax. So he would only let bottles be sold to his cavalry and his infantry that were not waxed. So if people are not going to wax over where their faults or their issues are, then yeah, they're sincere. And change can happen in a sincere organisation. Change can happen in a sincere board, in a sincere marriage. Doesn't mean it's perfect, but the cracks are there, the holes are there, we know they're there, let's work together to fix them.
It's tough to go there though, isn't it? No, for some,
Well, yeah, it is.
It's tough to be that sincere.
It's tough on pride.
Yeah.
It's tough on those things, but that's probably a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah. It's tough though, yeah? It's just me. I'm having a therapy session here. I feel like I should be lying down.